Well, hello, NFT NYC community, and welcome once again to Times Square in New York. Now, it's not crazy busy right now, but it will be. This place is going to get packed pretty soon with the NFT NYC community. I am so happy to have William with me right now. Why am I happy to have William? Well, William was one of the very first people I ever met in the NFT world, part of creating the ERC-721 protocol. And I remember just sitting at the very first NFT NYC and just listening to all the intelligence just dripping out of you. I would love for you to introduce yourself to the community, say hello to everybody, and maybe we could just start with a little bit of your story. Like, how did you get from ERC-721 to where we're at today? And then we can talk a bit about what's keeping you busy at the present moment.
Great. Hi, everyone. I'm Will Entriken. My history with New York is I'm one of the first speakers from the first time NFT NYC, back when it was a few people or just a lot smaller than today. I've seen the attendance figures this year, and it is moving very quickly up and up and up. It's a great crowd, and I'm glad to be back. So brief background on me. I got involved in this space with NFT end of 2017, beginning of 2018. And just like your t-shirt there is, it was all about the cats in the beginning. And I was very inspired by the bigger picture. So the cats were just one part of it, just like YouTube. YouTube used to be cats. Anybody, maybe I'm dating myself. So YouTube was just some bunch of videos of cats, and it really changes the way that people learn. I mean, basically YouTube is an education platform, and you learn how to fix your car, make meals, whatever, aerobics. That's all YouTube. And you look at the cats, you're like, is that what this is? Yeah, this is cats and fitness and yoga and fixing your car and relationship advice. That's YouTube. NFT is cats and dogs and artwork, enterprise, COVID testing, supply chain enterprise. I know NFT NYC is a lot about art, and I'm excited about this too, but this is the vision. So I'm grateful to be along for this ride. I've seen for the past few years, mostly artwork focused in New York, and there's a lot more coming, and I always talk about that. But this year I've got a different angle. So I do want to, pay respect to everybody who's bringing this forward, recognizing this vision too, and keep it going for what's next.
Well, the focus last year was the world's waking up to NFTs. And you saw that on all the different billboards, the world's waking up to NFTs. This year, the focus is on diversity. Diversity of the types of projects, the types of utilities, the types of approaches, right? Not making it about PFP projects alone, even though, wow, it's great to have that as part of what's inspired so many people to get involved and lean in. But there's so much more involved. Since you helped write ERC-721, and it's been used now for tens of billions, maybe hundreds of billions of transactions, it must be a very interesting thing for you to observe what's going on and to say, I saw that and I figured that was coming, but why hasn't this happened yet? And how the hell did these things happen? So there must have been a lot of surprises for you and your peers. Can you talk a bit about the surprises, both things that were shocking that happened and things that have been shocking and have not yet happened with this incredible content?
This is great. And you can refer to my last speech at NFT NYC. I think you've published these, right? So this was the 10-year plan, all the predictions. So you can catch me if I'm right or wrong. And my prediction for 22 was it was going to be a dead year with more COVID and nothing interesting. So we'll see how that goes. But I am surprised that the attention has been on one thing and not the next thing. So there's a phase that I think is ending now. And maybe it's the bear market, maybe it's the crypto winter, maybe I don't know what we'll call it. And I think there's a new phase that's coming. That's obviously this is coming. So here's the two phases. What's coming now is a bunch of people that don't have experience selling art, that aren't million, billion-dollar art sellers, going from 0 to billion. There's a lot of that. Bored Apes, they're not known as artists 10 years ago. Larva Labs were not known as artists. My grandmom doesn't know these people. They just went from 0 to million, 0 to billion. That happened. We can expect this is going to happen because these innovative people are the ones who look at CryptoKitties, show up at events like this, learn, take lessons, take workshops, and launch stuff. So it's not a surprise that they're going to get there first. I'm surprised that these are the ones that got on the front page of all the newspapers. I got these clippings, I got the clippings like a serial killer, like this is what we did. This is what we did. I got them on my fridge. I got them everywhere. I respect. And, Beeple, this and that, the Larva Labs, crazy transactions and, all the gossip and whatever. I follow that and it's great. What I'm surprised, I know it's coming next. I'm just surprised that it didn't come. I'm surprised that the focus is on this rather than this. But the thing that's going to come is people that my grandma does know about. Like, why doesn't, I don't want to name names, but like top 40 artists, why aren't these people selling these things? I mean, I know they're going to come, and I know why they're not selling them, because it takes some time. They have to go through their labels, there's a lot of more, they're going through quicksand. They got a lot more steps to make this happen. But when it does happen, these are going to be big too. They're not going to be big like you're going to make 1,000,000x on your investment on these things. You're not going to buy them at zero, because today these things that are, you're buying them at zero. These are unknown people and you're selling them for $250,000. So it's not going to be 1,000,000x upside, but it will be selling into a market that a lot of people want this thing. So, I guess I have to say names. So like maybe like a Justin Bieber artwork, and maybe he's not going to do it this year, but maybe someone else, or the Doja Cat, right? These are the things that I'm expecting are going to be big, and they're going to be coming not this year or not before, but they're going to come soon. So the surprise was, I'm surprised that the media took all the attention on these, million, $100 million things now, when really the attention should be on how Justin Bieber went from selling X to selling 10X because he sold a different way. Instead of selling music, he's selling pictures of music, or selling his reputation and fan base in just different, authentic, collectible ways. Specifically the South Park strategy. The South Park, you've seen the episode, right? That's the episode, the Denny's Applebee's Plus. I'm not that big a fan of Denny's Applebee's, but somebody is. And I'll bet you there's more Denny's and Applebee's fans 5 years ago than there were Pictures of Apes fans 5 years ago. It's just a bigger market. So there's an opportunity there. Look at how much McNuggets that look like things sell for. Have you seen this? They'll get like a deep fried McNugget that looks like, Michael Jackson, and it'll sell for 100K. These are nuggets, and they're, getting kicked out. So get these. Yep, we got to walk. The police. Oh, they know we're live. So if a McNugget, I can't hear you. You're on mute.
They asked me to move into the sidewalk. I was a little bit too deep into there for you. But yeah, nobody can see
so
me.
These nuggets,
when you're talking, just William, when you're talking, I'm on mute. So nobody can see me. It's all about you. Right? I'm going back on you, and you take it away.
I see you. This is a conversation
you're done
for
with
me.
this thought. But when you're done with that thought, I also would love for you to share and transition into what are you going to talk about at NFT NYC this year?
Oh, yeah.
Because every year you kind of leave us hanging for the next year, right? We're always ready.
Yeah, so this is the Steve Jobs style, the one more thing. So the one more thing last year at the end of the speech was introducing NFT Web3 Community Service Hour. This is a 1 hour every Tuesday, 6 o'clock New York time. And we just take questions left and right. Any questions you got, you can just ask them live, Twitter Space, Twitch, Discord. It's a multi-stream. And we get a lot of questions. And so it's really, some people, they have the question, you can ask on the internet, Reddit, Stack Overflow. You can come to events to ask questions, but I'm out there. I'm hustling. This is my vision. I want this to work. So you don't have to be special to get me on the phone. You get me on the phone any week. So this was announced last year at NFT NYC 2021. And every single week we've been going strong, 28 episodes in a row without stop. So I'm going to announce this, I guess, depending on when you're watching this, you already saw it or you're about to see it. And I'm going to just go through the top 3 questions. I'll give you a teaser real fast what they are. So the top question is, how do I create NFTs that trade or prevent, climate change? That's a major question. And then the number 2 one is going to be, if I accidentally click one of those links that's a fake OpenSea or like a phishing link, what's my downside? Am I going to lose everything? What's going to happen with that? And then I forget the third one, but third one's good too. So these questions, I'm going to rapid fire, just tell them what the questions are, come out with a quick answer. And my goal here is to help people. So I have a vision, you have a vision, I'm here to share, you're here to share. So I got big ambitions here. And the only way this is going to work is if I help you so that you can help your next people and that we can all execute. We're the pirates here in this room, in this city of New York right now, and we're working on a big thing. So you gotta be generous with your time and your support, and that's how we get there.
The pirates. We're the pirates. We're the barbarians. We're the new barbarians, I think. Although the industry is so new, I often say we're in the third trimester in the womb, right? We're not even born yet, right? It's all projecting what this child is going to become.
Yeah.
I want to, can you talk about, you're doing a show now, and so you're now creating content on a regular basis. I'd love for you to share with people how they can listen and engage with that, because that's not just an event, that's happening on a consistent basis. I'd love for you to share that with the community, please.
So this is, I guess I give you a URL, and there's the URL. I don't know if you can paste that or something.
Yeah, so I will pop that URL in the YouTube link as soon as we're done with our conversation.
Click here.
Tell us a bit about it. That's right.
Yeah, so this is a Twitch link, and this is a Twitter link, Twitter Spaces link, and then there's a calendar, add to calendar button. So it's every week, right? So you want to put it on your calendar, and then there you are. So you join. We also have program notes from every episode. We try to run this nice, so you can go back to old episodes, you can watch them, and then there's the snippets. Like last week, we just had a full episode on Soulbound tokens. That was a topic that Vitalik is talking about. It's, in my opinion, a Soulbound token is an NFT. So we have a lot of prior art to discuss, and we got very deep into it. What is a soul? How do souls apply to, the real world? I'm always trying to make things that are going to last. So you can't just be talking about nerd stuff. You got to be talking about, the ideas from now got to make sense 200 years ago, 5,000 years ago, right? So I'm applying other types of things that work like soulbound tokens in the 1800s, and how do they apply today? How do they play the games? How do they apply to bad things? What if you don't want one of these tokens and somebody gives them to you and you can't get rid of it? Is that compatible with human rights? So maybe it's premature to talk about this, but that's what you get into. If this is a topic you want to bring up and it's timely, we go deep into that. We also go deep into market hacks. There's a lot of hacks. So we go into how did this happen or whatever, but yeah.
So the idea of a soul and a soulbound token is super interesting, because a lot of people don't talk about spirit and soul. We mostly spend our time talking about our body, right? The part of us that's in connection with the world, or our mind, the part of us that's in connection with ourselves. Now, I always think of the soul as the part that's connected with another human, right? Like it's my soul and your soul that's having this conversation right now. And spirit is a little mysterious, right? I mean, you could say it's what's connected to God or, creator or whatever supernatural thing that you believe in. But the thought of talking about your soul and your soul connection, soulbound tokens is, I think, important. I'm glad that the right people are bringing this into the ecosystem, that there's really good kind of response to it. Where do you think this conversation around soulbound tokens leads over the course of not just this season, but over the next 5-10 years?
So there was another similar theoretical, some very big idea that there's a lot of good stuff to talk about, and there's a lot of ideas of how this might work, but never really translated. And I'm dropping a reference here. It's called Token Curated Registries, TCR. This was Golden. Mike Golden put out a paper 2018, something like that. I put out a paper, so probably those are the two main papers on this topic. And the question was, if you could have some type of Web3 type of thing where you're curating a list of things, maybe like good restaurants or respectable smart contracts or something like that. And we were trying to think, this was actually a precursor to DAOs, something that DAOs doing. DAOs wasn't really a big word back then. So this was, it's kind of like a nugget that you could consider this as an ancestor to what we now call a DAO. And that, if you had to ask what was the 5-year plan for this, DAOs is not really, we kind of thought like this would be like a list of good things, or maybe it turned into like gambling, like, these prediction markets have a way of predicting the future, which has a kind of like a DAO thing, validating the truth, or maybe like Chainlink, something like that, where you have to somehow use economic incentives to get the right answer. and these are similar related topics. So it's really hard to trace it back directly, but if you were there and you read up on this and you read up on that, you're like, yeah, that's connected. Same thing with Soulbound. So probably, we will use the word Soulbound when we're talking about games or something where Soulbound, something that makes sense. But I'll trace this back, just like NFT. I tell people NFTs are 500 years old. So if you think NFT, it happens to be we're using the letters NFT, but this concept goes back to a notarization of ownership of stuff. So anything we can say about NFTs, we can apply to horses, houses, cars, English common law. We can go straight back and we can directly correlate this stuff. And we can talk about them in the same way. But for Soulbound, I think and also bringing in your soul, God, what is it, people, what is reputation? I think that I'm going to leave you with a question. So tying us back to something is a college degree. What's a college degree? So they give you a college degree. What is conferred? Is it revocable? I mean, you can look up. So you're gonna have to look this up. Do colleges revoke degrees? Under what circumstances would they revoke it? If they give you a degree, but you change, is the degree really part of your soul, or is it attached to your skin? And so we looked into this. This is a dumb question, but you might say, like, what if there's a person who there's a person, but then they have maybe a catastrophic thing happens, and maybe they're very much a different type of person after that. Well, do you keep your Harvard degree? Probably. So should you? Should your Harvard degree apply to you if you go into a coma and you come out as a different person or something? These are the obvious answer is nobody would revoke a college degree from somebody because they came out of a coma the wrong way. So I'm not trying to ethically test that. What I'm saying is your answer to that question is going to apply to how you look at these Soulbound tokens. And they're going to apply to how you use them in games. So your achievement badge in a game, think about that the same way you're thinking about a Harvard degree would apply to somebody in different ways that people could change, or the different ways that a school person relationship might change over the years. You got to look at cases of people revoking degrees. Probably a college degree is the most expensive, most valuable Soulbound token that we have today. And is it Soulbound? So I'm trying to say is that the things that we might call Soulbound token in the real world, there might be some quantization error. There might be it's kind of implemented that way, but because we don't want to disparage people that go into a coma, it's close enough, or maybe we don't care about this. This thing cost you $300,000, and even if you got it but you didn't deserve it, we're going to let you keep it because we don't want the litigation. These are the edge cases you're going to think about, because degrees are worth hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, whereas this achievement in a game might be something little, but then PS, it might be worth a lot. So you can't be like, oh, well, it's a picture of an ape, so we don't really care about the property use rights for it or the commercial use rights because they're only $20 pictures of apes. This will clearly never be worth more than a college degree. Wrong. These are worth more than college degrees. So you need to think about this stuff and take it seriously. So that's where I think we're going. I think we're going to see micro-credentials. There's already schools working on this stuff, and they're probably not going to, Harvard's not going to call it a Soulbound token, but probably, the University of the People or one of these modern, universities or something. I think you're going to see them having something like an SBT, or you could just call it an NFT. They'll probably just call it an NFT because it's not a game. NFT sounds more commercial versus a SBT. But I think that's where we're going to go.
It's interesting the thought of how a college degree, not only do you have to pay a lot of money for it, but you also have to earn it with your time. And video games is the one thing in the NFT world that not only are you maybe paying money, but you're also using your time. Or maybe you're only using your time, but there's an earning element to it. Where the modern art PFP NFT market has nothing to do with earning, nothing to do with work, nothing to do with study or diligence. It's just a matter of, do I have the ETH to buy this thing, and do I want? So it's very interesting to see how things are going to unfold. I want to ask you one wild question that you're not expecting. Not that you expected any of my questions because you just jumped on and did this. If you sat down with the Pope, and Dalai Lama. And I just use those two as representative of, you know, several billion people that are religious and faith-oriented. And they maybe have their cardinals and their, you know, figureheads with them. And you're at a table and say, hey, listen, how should we be thinking about digital assets, crypto collectibles, non-fungible tokens? How might we consider this for our religious efforts over the course of the next 10 years in terms of how we engage with our community, become more accountable to our community, how their donations are being used? Like, what is your advice to us? What would you say to religious leaders of the world to consider in the next several years, especially the next decade, as this automation technology rolls out through their system with or without their desire? So what would your advice be?
Yeah, great question. And I take these things literally, and I did not expect this question. I've gotten questions about mermaids, pirates as good questions. So you definitely catch me. But I'm going to take this practically. So I'm going to look at things that the Pope and the Dalai Lama have said. And so how are we going to use technology, and how are we going to use it? I don't know about religious. I look at the Pope less about religion and more about cultural. You know, they're bigger than religion. Religion is just affecting some people. You know, the Pope's getting into politics. They're getting into, you know, bigger things than just some people that are religious. So I think what we will see is using it as a way to respect people. They look at, you know, they're always worried about the poor people, the floor of the human experience, right? So they're looking to raise the floor. So how can we, and I don't think these are tech people, I mean,
Well, I'm still with you, everybody. Will is just reconnecting audio. That's it. That's the glory of technology. There we go.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, you're back.
So we're going to raise the floor, and so maybe they're not tech people. So maybe it can be used for, you know, basic universal income. This is a topic that I've seen around, and if you're going to use legitimate systems that are connected to government, connected to religion, you know, you can use parishes to give out tokens to people to represent identity, even anonymously, as a way to, you know, like the church could give out a token and say, this is a needy person. And that's it. And you don't even have to know who it is. It's just a number. And if you trust the church or whichever, you know, whatever respected authority, then you can just give or, you know, say prayers or establish spiritual connections or do different things for needy people. And this is a way to raise the floor. So I think this is one way that they might be interested. Another one is, I think that's the one.
Well, again, none of my questions were given to you in advance. I didn't even know I was going to ask you, but I just thought we got into Soulbound tokens, and I had this really compelling conversation last night about how our collective conversation was like, how might NFTs impact politics and religion? And politics is such a hot topic that I don't always dive in. But faith, I think most people have faith of some sort. And most people are part of some sort of faith community of some sort. And they have leaders that are going to make decisions. They're going to be top-down decisions that hopefully will decentralize their power, whether they like it or not. But we, the leaders of this industry, those that are building, have to know how we'll guide these people. That's why I thought it'd be a fun question to ask you. It's so good to spend time with you. I'm so happy you're coming to New York and that we get to hang out and enjoy this amazing community that's grown from several dozen to hundreds to now tens of thousands, right? It's going to be wild. And I think that a lot of people are grateful for your diligence, your hard work. We're glad that you're still here innovating, making things happen, and have a lot of honor for your impact on the industry. And I think you know that, but it's also good to remind you of it. So, Will, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you, New York.
Goodbye, everybody. We'll be back. We'll see you in New York